record the sessions. Okay, so we have two different email template. One is Salesforce Classic and Salesforce Lightning email template. The classic one can be used to send a manual, and also we can use that one to send automations. Same way for Lightning, we can use only for manual. We cannot use that one for automations. So I think like I showed you the email builder also, right? So email builder. So that's a new feature in Salesforce. Now Salesforce introduced the email builder, where in case like you can go and design nice HTML template without writing any code. You can design the nice HTML template using the email builder in Classic. So we gone through all this folder creations, subfolder creations. Same way for Classic also, we gone through this type. Not especially like a Visual Force page, we didn't go for it because it's a coding. And then we started workflow. You guys remember that like outbound message up to?
Yeah.
So we send it to our external systems. So we use like one of the put request or request bin. So we used one request bin and we send information over here. I think 13 December, 14 December. This is old one. This is ours one, or what else is there? No, this is a different one. I think like a different sessions. 13 December, 14 December again. Yeah, this is a different record. Okay. The same way, like if we send the information to external system, so external system can grab these informations. I think we gone through only the process build, like a workflow. There is no approval process, no process builder. I think like today, let's go through the approval process. Okay. Is that okay? Like you guys are want to give a like a overview on the workflows.
Can you give Sampath just once?
Okay, sure. So, so generally, if you want to automate the stuff, let's say like if I want to send an email to this customer, whenever like the new customer is created in our system, you want to send automatically email to this customer based on this email address. You want to send an automatic email. Manually, if you're sending means you have to click on this button and enter the email ID. So basically copy the email ID. And then already we designed the template. So choose the template over here. Yeah, this is for text. And same way, like if you want a different template. So customer welcome lettered. It's a lettered. Yeah. And then you can send an email. Now, instead of sending email manually, what we can do, we can use the automation tools. We have like a different automation tool like workflows, process builder, flow, and macro. Yeah. So these are all on trigger. Trigger is basically development piece. So which I'm not going to cover you. Something like that can be done. So these are all the different automation tools. So workflows, approval process, process builder, flow, macro, and trigger, and auto response rule, assignment rule, escalation rule, web to lead, web to case, email to case. These are all the different tools available to automate the day-to-day business process. But these are all the tools available only if you go for a sales cloud or service cloud product. But these are all generally available across all the products, including platform cloud or sales cloud, service cloud, like, yeah. So we can use the workflow to send a email automatically. So generally via workflow, we can perform these 4 actions. So new task, send an email, field update, outbound message. New task means we can assign a task to one of the internal users. Let's say like whenever the new customer get created, we will assign a task to finance users to follow up that particular customer, or yeah, to update the details of the customer so that like, yeah, we can start doing any transactions. Like that, you can assign a task to a finance user. The finance user will get notified, then he can go on to complete his work basically. Maybe like he will enter the details, he will update the status of the customer and something like that. Yeah. Then to do that, we have to create a workflow first. So quickly I will show you that workflow. So on the customer object, Sorry. So on the workflow rules. Here at the moment, like we have send an email to customers, one is active, and update the status to open. So we have another one more workflow active, and assign a task. I closed it because we start getting like a multiple notification. That's why I stopped it. So we need to create a workflow. And if the country is equal to India, then the workflow will assign to finance users basically. So this is a task. So if I edit it, this task is assigned to finance users basically. So at the moment I assign to Bhaskar. Yeah. So that is the workflow. Again, single actions, you can put like a multiple single workflow. You can have a multiple actions. So task, email, or you can have a multiple task. Send a task to a finance department, send a task to different departments. Yes, you can do it. Then one main thing which we need to remember, whenever like the task is that this trigger will fire only when the record is created, or created and every time it's edited, or created and anytime it's edited subsequently meet the criteria. There are three options. Yeah, and then we gone through the different options, permutation, combination, like here created and created time, rule criteria is equal to true, whether it will fire or not. So we gone through that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
First options, when record is created. Second options, whenever created or edited, if met the criteria, it will go. Third options, whenever the record is created, once it's met, next met, it won't go until you change the value something else and change back to the same value. So I would say subsequent met. So first met, then all the further upcoming met, it won't work. If you change the value and again change it back to the conditions like the criteria met, then it will fire. Yeah. So most of the time we will go for like a third options. In second options, you cannot add a time dependent workflow actions. So we cannot perform the time dependent workflow actions. But again, these are all like we'll go through it one more time on the approval process also. Don't worry about that. And then within the workflow, we have like an email alert. So there is a email, send an email. So we send an email to based on the specific email address and the field update. So based on like some other fields, we can update the status fields. Like I think we changed the status to open by default. So this status, whenever if we create a new record, the status will update into open by default. That is only on creation times. So we used the field update for that. Then outbound message via web services basically. So we can send the customer Salesforce data into an external system using the outbound message. Okay, so that's all for high level. Let's go for an approval process. In approval process also we have the same actions and we will look into it. Now the difference between the workflow and approval process is workflow mainly will use to achieve all these four actions. Yeah, but where in case of approval process, if someone need to approve that record, see, in workflow, just we can perform an actions. That's it, right? But in approval process, suppose let's assume there is a sales guy. He need a manager approvals. Then we can go for an approval process because someone has to perform some actions. So he need to approve it. Once he's approved it, the record cannot be modified. It's a read-only records. Yeah. So the record cannot be modified. It's a read-only records. So now in our scenario, whenever the customer get created, we need a finance department approval. Let's assume like a finance department need to approve before doing any further transactions or further actions on the customer. That is our requirement. Whenever like the new customer is created, it has to go for a finance department approval. Once the finance department is approved, yes, then after we can perform any other actions. So that is our requirement. Now let's see how we can achieve that requirement in Salesforce using the approval process. Okay.
Do we have access to that spreadsheet you were showing? Pankaj?
Sorry.
Do we have access to that spreadsheet?
Yes, I shared all the entire folder ADM administrator 201. I already shared with everyone. So if you don't have it, please let me know. I am happy to share. This is your name, right?
Right.
Same way, I think like I shared Bhaskar and everyone, I think like I shared. So if I'm missing something, like please let me know. I'm happy to share again once again. So yeah, Bhaskar I shared. And Kishore, yeah. And Srinivas, I don't think so because you added at the last.
We have it's having Sampath. We are having it.
Oh, okay. You already have it?
Yeah. I'm using it. You can see my name also there.
This folder.
Yeah, this folder it's in yeah, say my name. My email is there.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe like this one, this access I may remove after like down the line, like 1 year or 2 years. Like if I have a lot of users, then I will go and remove something. So until like you can use it, maybe like not now. I would say like a 1 year or down the line like a 1 year, I may go and remove it like randomly. So I don't know to whom I'm removing it, but not now. Like down the line 1 year, If because the list is goes big, then okay. Now we are going to use the approval process. So let's see how we are going to create an approval process for this. So to create an approval process, again, go back to setup, search for an approval process. And then choose the object customer. Okay, so here you have to choose the object, like which object you are going to create an approval process. Now we have two options: use Jumpstart Wizard or use standard setup wizard. Okay, Jumpstart Wizard, standard setup wizard. Now Jumpstart Wizard means basically within a 2 screen you can finish all the actions. Standard setup wizard means it will take you to multiple pages, more than 7 to 8 pages. Step by step. Step 1, enter the details. Step 2, enter the conditions. Step 3, like the logic. So it will come like a multiple steps. So rather I would go for a jump start wizard. Okay, so I would say customer approval process. Conditions. We have one field, right? So there is a field called status field. Okay, open, approved, rejected. So if the status is equal to open, if the status is equal to open, then you can send an approval process. Not only one conditions, you can have a multiple conditions. Up to us, like you can go and define it like a multiple different conditions, and there is a logic. You can go for 1 or 2 or 3, like something like If there are more criteria, you can go for it. Okay. Now these are all the approver who is going to approve the record. So let's submitter choose the approver manually. I think like this is the one exam questions. So what are the options available while setting up the approval process? They will give like a different options. So out of these 4, like they will give 2 options over there, and the remaining 2 option maybe something else. So the first option maybe we can choose let submitter choose approver manually. So if I am the submitter, I created a customer, I would like to submit the approval process to a finance department, right? So at the time I need to choose which finance users can approve this record. So that is the option A. I have to choose it manually, but I don't recommend that. The second one is automatically assign a approver using the standard or custom hierarchy. We have a manager field on the user. That is the standard manager field. In Salesforce, we have a manager field for each user. Okay. So if I'm the user, I'm submitting for an approval request. My manager can get notified and he need to approve it. So we can go for that as well. The third one, automatically assigned to a queue. So we can create a queue. Let's say like for finance department, there are more than 4 or 5 users. So anybody can go and approve it, right? So we can create a queue for finance department and we can assign the queue to approval process. We can create a queue and we will assign the finance department people into a queue. Then anybody can go and approve it. Or automatically assign the approver. I'm going to specify which users. So I will say Bhaskar. So same way, you can have a multiple user also. Yeah. So you can add like as many users like approval process. But right now I don't want. So I will go ahead with just one users. One user is enough.
Sampath, what is the difference between queue and then automatically assign? Because even in the automatically assign, we can add multiple users.
See, now one drawback in this, if you are deactivating the users, what will happen? This approval, it won't work, right? Let's say if I'm deactivating Bhaskar, now this approval, it won't work.
Yeah.
But in case of queue, even if I deactivate a Bhaskar, it will work because the approval request goes to queue only, not the users. So within the queue, there are member will be there. So member may be active or inactive or whatever it is. So it won't consider the users. But here in this scenario, it checking the users.
So you mean to say we have to create a separate queue and add, or you have to create a group and then add the users there?
Yeah. But here, like it's not a group. Like this is a specific user. We are specific.
Yeah. No, I'm asking about this queue.
Yeah. So queue is like we have to create it. I can show you like quickly. So you can go for a queue. Let's say new queue, which is finance department. Come on, finance department. Queue email. I will say like my email or service at. Do you want to send an email to member? There is options while creating a queue. You can choose that. And which object you are going to use this queue. So I will go and use customer objects. And then who are all will be the member. So I can choose like a Bhaskar or any other users to be a member in this queue. Yeah.
So anybody from this queue would be able to approve, or
Yeah, anybody can able to approve. But the third option, another one more option. So if we go for a year also you can choose the queue. But here you have options to choose approve or reject based on the first response. If we go ahead with the first option, means anybody can approve from the queue. If we go for a second options, everyone has to approve from the queue. That is the difference. Okay. So here I will go ahead with the users. Automatically I am assigning to users, just one user, then yeah, nothing doesn't matter. Like, yeah. Okay, save. So remember, you will not be able to use this approval process until it has been activated. We need to activate the approval process. So in the next step, you can see all the actions. So if you click on the view approval process detail, so here itself you can see everything. But if you gone for a step-by-step process, this is one step, this is another 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 step. Like that, you will have like a more than 7 steps. Yeah. Now, the other thing which you need to remember is, whenever like the approval request is submit, do you want to perform any actions? I'm going to perform some actions. Yes, initial submission actions. I will do field update. I'm going to update the status field to in progress. Update the status to in progress. Okay. So here, if I select the checkbox, it will evaluate the entire workflow. In that object, if there are other workflows, it will go and evaluate other workflow also. If you check the checkbox based on this field update, it will go and evaluate other workflow also. If you are not doing it, yes, it won't evaluate other workflows. So save. So initial submissions, the field that I'm doing one field update, which will update the status to in progress. Basically, this field automatically will change into in progress whenever if you submit the record. Okay, so first of all, I will change this one to open so that you can submit the approval process. Then as soon as the approval is submitted, then the status changed into in progress. Now we have approval steps. Okay, so we have approval steps. Before activating the workflow, before activating the approval process, you can add steps. But once the approval process is activated, you cannot add a step. You can add a multiple steps over here: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Okay. So now if I go for a next step, step 2. So maybe like let's assume I need 2 approval. The first approval goes to Bhaskar. I need another one more approval to maybe CU or CF or something like that. Okay. So for that I need like a step 2 also. So step 2, all records should enter this step or only record criteria. So if the record type is equal to, we have a record type, right? Customer record type. If the customer record type equal to employed, then we need an or unemployed. We need another person approval. If it's employed, no need, just only finance department. But if it's unemployed, it has to go for 2 approvals. Who is the next approver? We can choose it again. So I'll put myself as a next approver. Okay. Then perform all rejection actions for this step and all final rejection actions. So basically, once this step is rejected, it will reject all the steps. If I go for only this, perform only the rejection actions for this step and send approval request back to the most recent approver. So basically, it go back to the step 1. How do you want? You want to go back to complete from the scratch or just only one step back? So you can set up like the logic. And after like approval or rejection, like new approval, do you need any task? No need. So I don't want to perform. See here, now you have 2 actions. The first actions by default go to Bhaskar. The second action goes to, once this condition is met, it will go to here. If it's not met, it won't go here. Then what is the actions? Final approval actions. So somebody is approved. What need to do? See, here also you can add approval actions, rejection actions. Each step you can add it. And also there will be a final. So if the record is not going to this stage, we are considering this action is the final actions. So whatever you defined here, it will execute here. Same way rejections. So for final approval, what I will do, update this as status to approved. So as soon as the record is approved, the record will be locked. So they cannot edit the employee details. If you want to unlock it, yes, you can unlock that also. So user can go and edit it after approval also. Or if you don't want to edit it, you can lock it. And then for final rejections, automatically the system will unlock and the user can go and edit it. So basically unlock already is there. I'm going to do update operations. Update the status to what? Rejected. Okay, now in between, if the first person approved, then if it's going to the next person's, so during that time, I would like to put the status to on hold. Update the status to on hold. Save. Yeah, are you able to visualize this? Hello? Is it okay to understandable or it's tricky?
Yeah, it's not so easy. I think, can you explain it again?
Okay, let's go for it. See, first of all, you understood the approval process, right?
Two-step process, yeah.
Yeah, why we need approval process, you understood that main concept, yeah?
Yep.
Now, so let's say we have a customer, Peter is a customer, and we have a two type, employed and unemployed, right?
Yep. Yes.
So employed, John, unemployed. We have a two record 1 and record 2. Assume this record created by Srinivas. Assume like, yeah, Srinivas created these two. Srinivas created one record and maybe Kishore or Dana created another record. Now, if as soon as the Peter is employed, yeah, we need an approval process. Like all the employee has to go to an approval process to a finance department. So we have a finance department. Assume like the user will be a Bhaskar. So it has to go to the approval for finance department, whatever the case, employed or unemployed, it has to go to the finance department. But if it's unemployed, again, finance department cannot take a decisions. It has to go to another one more level, let's say like a CEO or CFO or whatever it is. At the moment, I will assign myself like as an admin. So I will put like a myself another next level of approval. Okay, so finance department and next level, yeah, maybe like put any roles like, yeah. So now again, this next level, we need only unemployed. For employed customer, no need this level. For employed customer, just only this level. For employed, we need only these two. For unemployed, we need both. So it has to go for both. So if it's employed, just one level. I will say level 1. Just level 1, and this one I will say step 1 is best and step 2 is best. Sorry, keep on changing the name. Okay. So if it's a 1 level, just go ahead with this. If it's a 2 level, we need like, yeah, step 1, first level Bhaskar, second level Sampath. So unemployed employees, we need 2 steps. For employed, only 1 step. Okay. Now, as soon as the record is created, let's assume the record is created, and at the time the status will be open, right? So if the status is equal to open, then user can click on the submit button, submit for approval. So whenever user click on the submit for approval, the status change it to what? Okay, status change into in progress, and it send a notification to step 1. Whatever the record type, irrespective of the record type, it will go to the step 1. Even if it's employed or unemployed, it will go to the step 1. Step 1 approval. If here employed, unemployed both. Then only for unemployed, it has to go to step 1, which is Bhaskar, and also it has to go to step 2. Yeah, so I would say here, yeah, I will put it like this. Step 1 and step 2 both. So the same thing I'm putting here. So the record, if the criteria is met, so initial submissions, change the status to in progress. Step 1, by default, there is no criteria. Always go to this user. If he rejected, it won't go to this level. It will go back here. If he is approved, if it's a record type is equal to employed, like unemployed, then it will go to the next level. But if he rejected, it will go back to the first stage, right? So it will take like automatically these rejection actions, and then it will consider. See, for rejection behavior is, it go to the final rejection behavior. Approval goes to next step, basically. Like that, you can have a multiple steps. So in your company, you have like a different hierarchy, multiple levels reporting. So simply you can go for a number of steps. But one good thing you need to remember is, as soon as the approval process is activated, you cannot add any steps. You have to clone it, and then you have to modify these steps, and then you have to activate again. So once the approval process is activated, the steps, you cannot add a steps. So you will see here, there is no steps button. You cannot add it. That's it. Even if you deactivate, you cannot. You have to clone it, and then you have to add steps. Then you can reactivate that.
So that means the old object has to be deactivated then.
Not
The
all.
old record. Old record. Old record.
Old approval process. Old approval process has to deactivated. New, so you can clone it. Then do the changes, and the old one you have to deactivate it, and this one you have to activate it. Okay, now I have done it. So now let's look at the page. Now there is no submit for approval button, right? How the user will submit the button? If there is no button, how the user will submit? I will assign to Srinivas. Now if I logged as a Srinivas, then Srinivas can submit this record. But before that, we have to add a submit for approval button. So to add that button,
Mhm.
go back to the object manager. Actually, after Zoom updates, is not disconnecting for 40 minutes.
Oh, is it? Great news.
I can use full time. But we'll stop 1 hour. If you're sketching like a 2 hours video, nobody will watch actually. So we'll stop 1 hour. So after that, like we'll restart it again. Okay, so go to the layout. Basically, we need to add into the both layout. So edit. Classic, we have a button, but lightning, we don't have a button. So let's add a button on the lightning. Save. For unemployed, yeah, and refresh now. See, now we got a button. So let's assume Srinivas created one record and he can submit for an approval. Please approve this customer. So assume Srinivas submitted the approval request. So as soon as he submitted the approval request, you can see it went to a step 1 pending for the pending from boss.
I got an email. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll got an email and also see the status. Yeah, because for initial submissions, we put in progress here. There will be one field update. It will change the field to a in progress, the status field. Now, what is this record type? There is no record type field. Do you know which record type is this? Let's add a record type also, okay? The page layout, I'm going to add it. I will add it on the system information. So record type. Oh, just refresh it. My goodness. Sometimes like the browser is killing me. Still like the field is not there. Okay, anyway, so let's log in as a Bhaskar now. So then daily Bhaskar will get a notification. Just in the notification, there will be a link. So click on the link, it will take you to the page. Else, we may need to add a approval component in the home page. Then only you will get a approval components. So you have to add a list of approvals. You can put it over here, the component. So then he has to go and search for it. Okay. Now another thing, finance department, now they don't have access to that record. Then he cannot approve it. Right. So in that case, you need to give a full access to the finance department, at least like a updatable access. So what is this profile now? Let me. So I'm going to give additional permission for finance department. I given a permissions. Save. Now go back to the user. See, I can see like the 206.
I approved it now.
Okay, you approved it. Okay. So I think like this record type is employed record type. So because of that, yeah, see here, employed record type. Because of that, it went to only one step. So Bhaskar, and then it's get approved. So, and also the status changed into approved. But now assume you already logged in, right? So just all logged in. I will submit one more record.
Yeah.
Now if I go for another record, so I'm not able to see this. Where is my? I will change this record type to unemployed. Submit for an approval. What is the error message?
No applicable approval process was found.
What is the what it means?
The approval process is not applicable for unemployed customer.
No.
Maybe the status is not open,
Yeah,
or
the condition is not met.
Okay.
Let's approve this record. Okay. Now I submitted. Can you go and approve it, please?
Yeah. You got an email now.
So I can see it's pending with the Bhaskar and the status in progress. So let's see, like once as soon as Bhaskar is approved.
Yeah, approved. Yeah.
See, it's pending by another step 2. Because this is an unemployed customer, it's going into step 2. At the moment, status is what?
Open. Oh, sorry, on hold. Yeah.
Yeah, because once if you approved, I put like a field update on hold. Then if I go and approve, if I reject, it will go to the previous step to you only. I will approve. As soon as if I approve, then the status changed into approved. And the record, entire record will get approved. So I got a notification, basically approval request for the customers.
once approved, we cannot go back, edit, and reject it, right?
They can edit it, but because we unlocked it. So if you lock it, they cannot edit it. There is an action, right? So once
Yeah.
it is approved, there is a lock. At the moment we unlocked it. But if you put lock, then they cannot edit any operations.
So the status flow starts from submitting the record, then goes to in progress.
Yeah.
If it's a 2-step process, then it goes to on hold. And once the second approval is given, then it goes to approved. Correct?
Yeah. If it's not going for a second approval, then by directly it will go to for approved.
It is in progress, approved.
Approved, yeah. Again, these are just a requirement. You can have it like a multiple
Statuses.
yeah, different status. Like I just worked on one Dubai customer during the time, like approval step is more than 20 approval steps, and
Okay.
we had a big chart, basically like one entire floor. We like not the one entire screen, like the one wall, entire wall. Like we put this chart and then we draw it and we start the project.
Okay. Okay.
Because they have a complex approval. It's a basically oil and gas company.
Yeah.
Here oil and gas company, they have like big approval mechanisms. So we started like a more than, like I would say, 20 approval process. Because we cannot achieve single approval process, we have to build a 20 approval process. Each approval process, there are multiple steps.
Was it capturing a customer record or is it some other information?
It's a customer PO. What is that, like
Purchase order.
no, not purchase order. Before that, RFP, request for quotation.
RFP, request for proposal. RFP.
Yeah, proposal. So if the amount is this much, go to the next stage, and go to the first. Initially go to managers and sales. First initially sales guy, then sales manager, then regional manager, then procurement, not procurement, like inventory. Then after inventory, go to the finance final approvals. Once there are amount is huge, it has to go for like a regional regional head, then CEO. Like there are multiple. I'm not sure
Was
whether
there-
how that logic.
Yeah, was there any logic to go back to the previous approver?
That's
for
why
questions?
we put it. No, so yes,
No.
here if you there is a one step. You remember like so if the first person rejected, it has to go back to the previous steps.
Okay.
We can
Instead of
this one.
yeah, I got it. Instead of rejecting, is it possible to have an chatter functionality to communicate with the previous approver?
Even the client asked like why I need to reject it. Like I will put like something during the
Some comment.
comments,
Some comment.
yeah, in the comment you have to put whatever you are thinking it, and then you have to reject it. Then only you will get the notifications.
There is nothing called reassign.
No, we can reassign it. Approval process can be reassigned.
No, reassign to back to step one.
No.
Instead of reject.
It's not like that. So you can reassign to another users to approve it, but you cannot go back to the back step until you reject.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure, like I do have those projects in my log. I will just pause the recording. Sim recording. Yeah. So any question on the approval process? Is that clear?
I'm good, Sampath.
Yeah, and also there is a recall options. Like, yeah, you can recall it. Like the submitter can recall it. The last step, I think. Okay. So the next automation.
Recall can be happen after approval or rejection or before approval. Before.
Only the first step.
Okay.
So if suppose unfortunately you submitted for approval, then you can recall it. But as soon as like you gone into the first stage, then that's it. Yeah. After that you cannot recall it. Okay. So the next one is process builder. I would say this is the latest, not latest, like Salesforce introduced this tool around I would say 2015. During 2015, Salesforce introduced the process builder. So basically it's an advanced topic of workflow. So in workflow, it's a single if-else statement, but process builder is multiple if-else statement. Okay. So I will pause the recording and I will show you one of my client. Pause the recording.